All hail!
Greetings all.
And welcome to Language Training 101, Renaissance English.
No, RenFairish for Dummies.
Part 2.
I'm still Ken.
And I'm still Deborah. Shall we get on with this?
Prithee proceed.
Thou, thee, thy, thine.
Meaning you, your or yours.
This time we're talking about thou.
I think you mean thee.
Well, yes, as discussed in part 1, one would say talking about thee if one meant talking about you. But I mean talking about the subject pronoun, thou.
Thou? Then thou shouldst have said as much.
I just did. Starting over. Thou means you. Thou is you as second person singular subject and has its own conjugation.
Huh?
Like in Spanish, French, or German, there are different forms of you, depending on whether we mean one person or more than one person, and whether we're speaking formally or informally. This will be much easier to grasp if you've studied other languages. Think of thou like the Spanish or French tu, or the German du. It works just like that. Don't know any other languages? Don't panic. Don't worry, Ken and I are here to help. Besides, remember, Renaissance fairs are just pretend. Nobody dies if you get this wrong. We just want you to have the tools you need to make a good try at getting it right and having fun. Note: if we really spoke the way they did in medieval or Renaissance England, nobody would understand us. The English language evolved dramatically over time. What we are actually doing is speaking modern English and sprinkling in a little Renaissance grammar and occasional Renaissance vocabulary. We do this in ways that give our speech a Renaissance flavor, yet help to create an inclusive atmosphere for our patrons. Sometime after the Renaissance, English lost its second-person singular conjugation. In other words, its distinction between one familiar you, thou, and many of you, ye or you. Thou is singular. Thou means you, just you by yourself, not several of you together, not a crowd of you, not y'all, just one lonely you. For singular, use thou, thee, thy, thine. For plural, use you or ye, you, your, and yours. Thou, est. In most cases, second-person singular verbs end in est or st. Thou knowest, you know. Thou takest, you take. Thou givest, you give. Thou shouldst, you should. Thou wouldst, you would. Thou hast, you have. To us, speakers of modern English, the right-hand column with the pronoun you can mean one of you or many of you. But in medieval or Renaissance English, it would have meant more than one. For example, thou knowest would mean only one of you knows, and you know would mean a group of you know. Thou givest would mean one of you gives, and you give would mean a group of you give. Make sense? When speaking to one person, you are becomes thou art. Not thou are, but thou art. You are, thou art. Fools. To one fool, we say, thou art a fool. To a pack of fools, we say, ye are fools all, or you are fools all. To be or not to be. Here's the Renaissance conjugation of the verb to be. For one person, I am, thou art, he, she, or it is. For more than one person, we are, you or ye are, they are. Thou dost, you do. When speaking to one person, you do becomes thou dost.
Thou dost know.
You do know.
How dost thou know?
How do you know?
However dost thou know it?
How do you know it?
Dost thou understand?
Do you understand? Here is the Renaissance conjugation of the verb to do. I do, thou dost, he, she, it doth. We do, you or ye do, they do. When speaking about one person, he does becomes he doth. The es of does becomes a th, does, doth. Most third-person singular verbs end in f or th. Do not confuse dost and doth. Thou dost, you do, he, she, it doth, he, she, it does. Thou dost protest too much, methinks. He, she, or it, the lady, doth protest too much, methinks. He, she, it, eth. In most cases, third-person singular verbs end in eth or th. He knoweth means he knows. She taketh means she takes. It giveth, it gives. He runneth, he runs. She doth, she does. It hath, it has. Remember, when the subject pronoun is thou, the verbs end in est or st. When the subject is he, she, or it, and the modern verb would end in an s, that's when you use eth or th. Here's a trick to help you decide whether to use est or eth at the end of the verb. When in doubt, remember thou'st rhymes with joust. When the pronoun is thou, the verb ends in st or est. Thou'st rhymes with joust. Heath and sheath. When the pronoun is he or she, the verb ends in th. So he, th, or sh, th. This gives you heath, as in where the place? Upon the heath. Or sheath, as in sheath thy sword, I shall not fight thee this day. To take. Here is the Renaissance conjugation of the verb to take. I take, thou takest, he, she, or it taketh. We take, you or ye take, they take. To give. I give, thou givest, he, she, or it giveth. We give, you or ye give, they give. To have. I have, thou hast, he, she, or it hath. We have, you or ye have, they have. To run. I run, thou runnest, he, she, or it runneth. We run, you or ye run, they run. See how it works? Basically, if I'm talking about myself, I, or if I'm talking about multiple people, we, you or ye or they, the conjugations are exactly the same as in modern English. It's when I'm talking about one of you, thou, or he, she, or it, that I have to think, because the conjugations are different. Some exceptions. There are some verbs known as modal, auxiliary, or defective verbs that do not take the th in the third person singular. These verbs have no infinitive form and include can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, and would. For example, there's no infinitive to can, unless you mean the modern verb to put into a can. But even now, can in the sense of to be able to has no infinitive form and doesn't conjugate normally. We say she cans vegetables, but not she cans read. Here's the Renaissance conjugation of the modal or defective verb can. I can, thou canst, he, she, it can, we can, you or ye can, they can. Notice, it is thou canst, but it is not he, she, or it can'th. Just he, she, or it can. Thou canst sing, he can sing. Here's a sample chat in the lane, albeit a bit silly, as no one in the Renaissance could afford sugar unless they were extraordinarily wealthy.
Good morrow, mistress.
Well met. Prithee, hast thou any sugar I might borrow?
Certainly, and I shall give it to thee anon.
Thou dost lie. Thou shalt not give me any sugar, for thou hast none. Thou wouldst have me believe thou art wealthy, when in truth thou art a pauper. Sugar indeed, deceive me not.
Forgive me, my pride hath led me to the lie. Had I any sugar, I would certainly share some with thee.
Wouldst thou truly?
Ay, by my troth I would.
Then I shall hold thee to it when thou dost come into thy fortune. Meanwhile, I shall seek elsewhere for sugar.
Fare thee well.
Until we meet again. Practice time! We will give you a few seconds to consider which answer you think is correct before we show the correct answer and tell you why it's the right one. If you find you need longer, just pause the video so you can think about it before we tell you. Which one is correct? A. The Lord gives and thou takes. B. The Lord giveth and thou takest. C. The Lord givest and thou taketh. The correct answer is B. The Lord giveth and thou takest. Why? The Lord, he, giveth, that third person singular, eth, right? He, heath. And thou takest, thou, est, thou'st, rhymes with joust, right? Heath, joust. The Lord giveth, thou takest. How do you say you, singular, should? A. Thou shouldst. B. Thou should. C. Thou shouldeth. The correct answer is A. Thou shouldst. Remember, thou, st, thou shouldst. How would you say she does? A. She doth. B. She doeth. C. She dost. The answer is A. Why? She doth. Sheath. She doeth is incorrect, and she dost is wrong because dost is the conjugation that would go with the pronoun thou. Thou dost. She doth. What does thou mean? A. All y'all. B. You, but only singular. C. Short for 1,000. The correct answer is B. You, but only singular. Remember we talked about thou means just one single you. Not you and your whole posse, not all y'all. That would be ye, or you. Thou just means you all by your little self. Short for 1,000, well, sure, in 2020. How would you say he knows? He knowst. He knows. He knoweth. The correct answer is C. He knoweth. Why? Knowst would be a shortened way of saying knowest if the pronoun was thou. Thou knowest. And sometimes if we're trying to fit it in the meter, say in Shakespeare, we might say thou knowst. But when the pronoun is he, then it's he knoweth. That third person singular. He. Remember? Heath? He knoweth. How would you say you don't know when speaking to just one person? A. Thou knows not. B. Thou knowest not. C. Thou dost not knoweth. The correct answer is B. Thou knowest not. Why? Well, thou knows isn't correct. Thou knowest is correct. Remember, thou, st, thou'st, rhymes with joust. Thou knowest not. Answer C, thou dost not knoweth, was almost correct. Thou dost not know would be right. Thou dost not knoweth is wrong. We'll get into more of why that's the case in just another couple of minutes. How would you say you are? A. Ye are. B. Thou are. C. Thou art. This one actually has two correct answers. A. Ye are is correct if you're speaking to more than one person. Ye or you are would be the plural for you are. C is also correct if you're speaking to one person. Thou art. How do you say you aren't? A. You are not. B. Thou art not. C. Thou are not. This one also has two correct answers. Answer A is correct in the plural, speaking to a group of people. You are not, or ye are not. Answer B is correct if you're speaking to one single person. Thou art not. How would you say he might? A. He mightest. B. He mighteth. C. He might. The correct answer is C. He might. Why? Might is one of those modal or auxiliary or defective verbs. Remember those? The ones that don't have an infinitive form and don't take the th or the f in the third person singular. Just he might. So to review, some exceptions. There are some verbs known as modal, auxiliary, or defective verbs that do not take the th in the third person singular. These verbs have no infinitive form and include can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, and would. For example, there is no infinitive to might. Here's the Renaissance conjugation of the modal or auxiliary verb might. I might, thou mightest, he, she, or it might, we might, you or ye might, they might. Which one is correct? A. Thou cannot fish here. B. Thou canst not fish here. C. Thou cannot fisheth here. The correct answer is B. Thou canst not fish here. Why? Thou, second person, singular, conjugates ending in st. Remember, thou'st rhymes with joust. Thou canst not fish here. Thou cannot fisheth is not correct. We will get to that in a little while. But also, thou cannot simply isn't correct because it's thou canst not. He, she, or it cannot. They cannot. I cannot. You cannot. We cannot. Ye cannot. But thou canst not fish here.
And now back to work. Canst thou recall? Thou is addressing one person. You is addressing more than one. You is addressing a tree.
Thou is informal. Thou refers to one person, you, and is also informal or familiar, like to or do, remember? When addressing a friend or equal, say, thou art kind. But when addressing a superior, such as a member of the royal court, consider saying instead, my lord is kind. Instead of saying, thou lookest well to a lady far above your own station, consider, my lady looketh well. A very common mistake is to use too many ests and eths in combination. For example, do not say, thou dost taketh my breath away. Do not say, she doth taketh my breath away. This is wrong and very, very silly. Why is that wrong? Because when you say, thou dost taketh my breath away, you are effectively saying, you do takes my breath away. And when you say, she doth taketh my breath away, you are saying, she does takes my breath away. Only modify the first of two verbs when using two in a row like this. Say instead, thou dost take my breath away, meaning you do take my breath away, or simply, thou takest my breath away, meaning you take my breath away. What about thou dost takest? No, because that means you do you take. Just remember, when using two verbs in a row, only the first one ends in est or eth. Easy. Third person. She doth take my breath away, meaning she does take my breath away, or she taketh my breath away, she takes my breath away. Just never both together.
So I shouldn't say doth taketh.
No, you should not. So just for clarification, when I say two verbs in a row or two verbs back to back, in this context what I mean is two verbs that are part of the same action, like does sing or has run, where one is an action like sing or run and the other is a helper or auxiliary verb like does or has. If you have two or more verbs in a row that all represent different actions, those will all get conjugated. For example, she dances, sings, and plays merrily becomes she danceth, singeth, and playeth merrily. All three take the eth ending, just like the modern ones take the es or es. But if you add the helper verb does to the mix, she does dance, sing, and play merrily becomes she doth dance, sing, and play merrily. See? It honestly works just like in modern English, only the first verb, does or doth, takes the ending. Since we love greetings, speaking to my sister, thou greetest me coldly, sister, meaning you greet me coldly, sister. Or, why dost thou greet me coldly, sister, meaning why do you greet me coldly, sister? Speaking about my sister to someone else, my sister greeteth me coldly. My sister greets me coldly. Or, my sister doth greet me coldly. My sister does greet me coldly. Greetest not, dost not greet. Thou greetest me not, meaning you do not greet me. Or, thou dost not greet me, meaning you do not greet me. Greeteth not, doth not greet. He greeteth me not kindly, meaning he does not greet me kindly, or he greets me unkindly. He doth not greet me kindly, he does not greet me kindly. Do not say, he doth not greeteth me, because that means he does not greets me. See how it works? Farewell. If one of me is saying goodbye to one of you, I bid thee farewell, or I do bid thee farewell. If several of us are saying goodbye to one of you, we bid thee farewell, or we do bid thee farewell. If one of you is saying goodbye to a group of us, thou bidst us farewell, or thou dost bid us farewell. If a group of you are saying goodbye to a group of us, you or ye bid us farewell, or you or ye do bid us farewell. If he or she is saying goodbye to a group of you, he or she biddeth you farewell, or he or she doth bid you farewell. If a group of them are saying goodbye to a group of you, they bid you farewell, or they do bid you farewell. Test thy newfound understanding. What should you say when addressing the king? A. Thou art merciful. B. Your Majesty art merciful. C. Your Majesty is merciful. The correct answer is C. Your Majesty is merciful. Why? Well, the king most likely is far above your station. So we speak to the king in the third person out of respect, like using the formal usted instead of tú in Spanish, or sí instead of du in German.
How might you say, he does drink my beer? A. He doth drinketh my beer. B. He drinkest my beer. C. He doth drink my beer. And the correct answer is C. He doth drink my beer.
Why? Answer A is wrong because we don't say doth drinketh. Remember, only conjugate the first in a string of two verbs in a row. So you could say, he doth drink, or he drinketh, but not he doth drinketh. B is incorrect because drinkest is the second person singular conjugation and would belong with the pronoun thou. Thou drinkest, he drinketh, or, as in answer C, he doth drink. How might you say, don't you like the turkey leg? A. Likest thou not the turkey leg? B. Dost thou not like the turkey leg? C. Dost thou not likest the turkey leg? This one has two correct answers. A and B are both correct. Answer C is incorrect because we don't say dost likest. Dost thou not likest the turkey leg is like saying, do you not you like the turkey leg? Remember, when we have two verbs back to back, we only conjugate the first one. So, dost thou not like, or likest thou not?
How might you say, do you know her name? A. Dost thou knowest her name? B. Dost thou know her name? C. Dost thou knoweth her name? And the correct answer is B. Dost thou know her name?
Why? Dost thou knowest her name is incorrect because we would not say dost knowest. Only dost know or thou knowest. Dost thou knoweth her name is incorrect, not only because we don't conjugate both dost and knoweth back to back, but because knoweth belongs with he, she, or it. He, she, or it knoweth. Thou knowest, or thou dost know. How might you say, he has lost my trust? A. He hath lost my trust. B. He hath losteth my trust. C. He hast lost my trust. The correct answer is A. He hath lost my trust. Third person singular. He hath. Remember the trick? Heath. He hath lost my trust. B is incorrect because we would not say hath losteth, because we don't want to put the th on the end of two verbs in a string like that, right? Just he hath lost or he losteth, but not he hath losteth. And then he hast lost is incorrect because hast would be the conjugation that goes with thou. Thou hast lost, he, she, or it hath lost.
How would you say, what say you, should we leave? A. What saith thee, shall we away? B. What sayest thou, shall we away? C. What say ye, shall we away? And there are two correct answers. Answer B, what sayest thou, shall we away, if you're addressing one person. And answer C, what say ye, shall we away, if you're addressing more than one person.
Why? Thou sayest, ye say. The first one, what saith thee, is incorrect because he, she, or it saith, right? Not thou saith, and also thee is the object pronoun. How would you say, will you join us tomorrow? Will ye join us on the morrow? Wilt thee join us on the morrow? Or wilt thou join us on the morrow? There are two correct answers. Answer A and answer C are both correct. Why? Answer A is correct if you're speaking to more than one person. As people are leaving the fair, you might say, will ye join us on the morrow, to a group of them. Or, if you are addressing one individual person, you might say, wilt thou join us on the morrow, meaning, will you join us tomorrow?
How would you say, I'll see you soon? A. I wilt see thou later. B. I shall see thee anon. C. I shall seeth thee anon. And the correct answer is B. I shall see thee anon.
Why? Well, there are two problems with answer A. The first one is I wilt. It would be thou wilt. I will. See thou is also a problem. We would see thee. Thou is a subject pronoun. Thee is the object pronoun. Answer B is correct. I shall see thee anon. Answer C is incorrect because I shall seeth is not correct. Seeth is the third person singular conjugation of see and essentially means sees. So if you say I shall seeth thee, it means I shall seize thee. How would you say hello, goodbye? A. Hail to thee, fare thee well. B. Greetings, farewell. C. All hail, Godspeed. And the answer is that all three of these are correct. They're just all different ways of saying hello and goodbye to patrons at the Renaissance Fair. How would you say she loves you? A. She loves thou. B. She lovest you. C. She loveth thee. And the answer is she loveth thee. Yeah. By ye old Beatles. Thou think'st thou lost thy love. Well, I saw her yesterday. 'Tis thee she thinketh of. And she told me what to say. She saith she loveth thee, and thou know'st that cannot be bad. Aye, she loveth thee, and thou know'st thou shouldst be glad.
And on that note,
for more practice with thou and all those pesky ests and eths, click on the link to the web quiz. We'll put it in the video description and in the comments below.
stay tuned for additional training videos.
Meanwhile, sign up to practice with us in small groups on Zoom. It'll be a great opportunity to ask questions, get answers, meet and get to know some of your fellow cast members and volunteers, practice having conversations so you'll be more comfortable conversing at the fair, and maybe we'll even play some real-time quiz games on Kahoot to help you hone your skills.
Until then, we shall see thee anon.
In other words, see you real soon!